Questions are ready. Speakers, please come to the podium ASAP. Since Vasanthi has sat first, I'll start it to save time. Vasanthi, first question to you. The trend of senior citizens, which I have seen so far, is more prevalent with some amount of religious divide also. Religious divide. That means that you see them more in Hindus, not so much in Christians or in Muslim communities. Similarly, within the Hindus also, I see it more within the Brahmins, not with the other communities. Is there any statistical details or any reasoning that you think that it is not prevalent or if it will not get prevalent, according to you? And can something be done as suggestions to the government to see how that can be increased? Because the problems are still there within those communities. We know it is there. Because humans are still the same, they have the similar problems, they have the same challenges which are faced as we do. So, your thoughts on that?
See, fundamentally, the senior citizen homes are coming up only now, within 10 years. And definitely in future, maybe you have combination of various religions. But right now, I don't see. Personally, I have not seen. Maybe when the outlook of the people differ after some time, in the modern days, when they accept each other at the ground level, maybe that will happen. But now it is not happening everywhere. But the government cannot interfere into this, definitely, because they have their religious preferences. And even within the community, you see a lot of differences. People try to avoid certain gatherings when it comes to based on the religious factors. So it might happen, hopefully. We all hope for that. But right now, it is not there. In my experience, I have not seen a community where you have all the religions coming together.
And could it also be linked to our Agraharam concept, where community living of those kinds were more there, which were not there in other communities?
You have certain communities like old age homes for Christians, you have for Muslims, you have for Hindus. It's not only Agraharam type. You have everywhere. We are not familiar with that, but it's slowly coming up. A lot of areas you have these type of communities.
I have checked with Kerala and other places where it's not so prevalent.
Not so prevalent, but it is happening. That's what is my answer.
Okay.
In future, maybe you will see more.
They all go to the Gulf.
I'll direct my next question to Vijay Kumar. Vijay Kumar, health and safety is a great subject. It is all, a lot of things are coming into India in this regard. But my question is, where do you think health and safety is not taken seriously by the people? Is it from the management point of view or from the people point of view? The workers actually. Who doesn't take it seriously? And part of the reason for that is that the success of health and safety is not so much implemented.
Neither the worker nor the management. It is the government.
Government?
It is the government. Government has made just rules, regulations, acts. But nothing is put into practice. In India, there is no deficiency for any acts. For everything you have empty number of acts, regulations, there is no monitoring. There are no inspections.
So if that is implemented well, it will improve.
I would like to take a quote from yesterday's presentation. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore, he said, what is practicable, you make it as an act. If it is not practicable, don't make it as an act. But in India, we have act for everything, but when it comes to implementation from the government side, it's absolutely zero.
So Shankar, you have to understand that India is the only country where you have books which says income tax, law and practice. My professor always used to say law is separate from practice.
My third question, I'll direct it to Sampath. I just had some notes, so I thought I'll share it and also ask a question related to it. Just as a statistics for everybody, the world population is almost about 8 billion. We're talking about 800 million. But you'll be surprised to hear that the number of vegetarians in the world is only 865 million compared to 8,000 million population. Now, the other irony is, out of the 865 million people who are vegetarians, the so-called pure vegetarians, 550 million are sitting in India. Out of our population of 1,400 million, 1.4 billion. So, a lot of these challenges of agriculture and hardcore food, which we talk about, agricultural food, that challenge seems to be in India more than in other countries.
No, Shankar, I would...
I'll just finish off the trend, then we'll touch on this. Furthermore, what I saw was that our population is also very divided. North India has 75% of the population. South India has only 25. Number of suicides, which you mentioned, it was one of the reasons why I got alarmed and I thought, let's go back to India. And at that year, in 2020, the year I came here, there were 5,500 suicides, which was an alarming number for 1 year. 5,500 households losing their breadwinner was huge. And what was even more surprising is that everybody has problems and different communities have problems. But almost 13% of the suicides in India was farmer suicides. So that it was really alleviated. So it was a search for my own soul to also find out more. So I have also done some study on it. But having said this, Punjab and Mizoram are the states which have maximum number of suicides. So now the small question which comes up along with this is that has education actually helped your analysis, which is correct actually, that poor income and debt repayment has become the biggest burden for the reasons of suicide. But along with that, education also is a factor which helps in these factors. So South India has had very less. So would education be a substitute for or a subject that could help suicides being lesser?
I think educated people also commit suicides. So it's not...
Educated farmers, I meant farmers.
No, I think educated people also commit suicides, like an IT professional jumps out of the 6th floor window and things like that. But I think the issue is not so much in terms of education. It's all, see, the thing is, when you say education, what does it mean? In the sense like, okay, many of them have gone to school, they have passed, even there are many people...
Falling into the debt trap.
Is a major problem is, see, somebody was saying about fragmented holding of this thing. Farming, see, civilization grew from farming. That's what they say. When man settled down and then he started doing farming and agriculture, then civilization grew. Fair enough. But then, do we give the type of, have governments given the type of respect to farmers that they give to industrial workers? Definitely no. It's all, don't say yes, because it's only lips. It's only lip service, most of the time. Yeah, okay. We are not giving. The thing is, basically, for example, going back in history, way back after independence, we were supposed to do land reforms, right? But it was not done properly. If you go outside and ask any of those guys whether they have a patta for that place that they are cultivating, most of them will not have. Why? Because transfer of property, they are not willing to pay. You tell a farmer you would have to pay 10,000 rupees for doing this registration. He's not going to take that risk. He says, might as well continue as it is. And you go to, I don't know whether you've gone to a Tahsildar's office. It's an experience by itself. I have been several times. The way these guys are treated by those guys in government is like shocking. It's very similar to how the British treated natives. Still the same culture pervades the system. They're not helpful. You have a problem, a farmer has a problem, he needs some document, this thing. You should see the way these guys talk to those fellows. It's terrible. Forget about everything else. The way they talk to them itself makes you feel that they should commit suicide.
Just because they are uneducated, they are the lower category,
so-called
lower category.
They treat them like dirt. In the sense like, like what will this fellow do? And then you say, okay, the usual practice, give me this, give me that, and things like that. You get a form, you have to pay 50 rupees. I'll tell you one thing, from my village to go to Nagapatnam, the ticket is 50 rupees by bus. I want my guys to go and find out something. Okay? I have to fund them that 50 rupees, otherwise it's a risk for them. They can't spend that 50 rupees. Everybody was shouting during demonetization, the poor people in the villages are suffering this, that, and things like that. How many guys had seen a 500,000 rupee note? Nobody had seen it. It's all chumma jamela, you know this chumma jamela, just do this, jumla. ठीक है. How many people have seen a 1,000 rupee note? Do you know, you give a farmer, at least in my village, if you give him 50 rupees, like, he thinks he is very, he's been a windfall. He's hit a jackpot for 50 rupees. That is the situation. That is the reality of, unfortunately for India. Because the thing is, today farming has also, in a way, I don't know whether I should say it, in a way it's controlled by mafia. We should realize that. It's a mafia-driven operation. You go and check how many people want to go and check how many lands are held in Benami names.
I tend to fully
So the thing
go along
is,
with you.
the problem is very, very deep. See, the thing is, I would recommend you to go and read. There's a Dharampal was a Gandhian socialist. He has written some brilliant books based upon his original research in the British archives, based upon collector reports, English collector reports in the 1800s, 1900s, etc. He spent enormous time there. He's written about the education system and all those type of things. But he's also written about the social structure that Indian villages had. It's completely destroyed now. It's completely gone. And that structure is important because that was equitable. Democracy doesn't provide equity. Actually, democracy today is might is right only. So it's very pathetic when you look at it. I think it's like coming back, you said, India alone is not having this problem, food problem. You don't look at it agricultural problem. I would recommend you to see a documentary called Food Incorporated. It says Food Inc. It was it came out, it was an award-winning documentary in 2010 or 2009. It takes apart the whole food industry of US. Then you will understand this food, how it is being controlled.
The second part of my question was related to even the health part which you had mentioned. If the food grains have become more starchy, if it has become more rich, is that the reason that food is not healthy any longer? Or is it to do with the mix of food? We have rice, but we are mixing it with the wrong set of elements, whether it be oil or something else, and then making it into a thing which is not healthy, which is more relevant.
No, that's also relevant because actually, vegetables also contain a lot of pesticides and things like that. But the main factor today for most people is the sugar problem, diabetes. Now you look at data, you go back, if you have time, you go back, say how many cases of diabetes was reported in 1970, 80, and how many cases of diabetes are being reported. Because this was a very surprising thing that I came up by chance. That the starch had got modified. And I think that was something that is mind, it sort of boggles your mind. What science, see, it goes back to that famous thing, which said 40, 50 years ago, there was this report saying that fat is the cause of obesity. So you start having all types of margarine and artificial butter and things like that. After 40 years, they discovered that it was not fat that was causing obesity, it was sugar. And the original study, data analysis, said sugar was the problem. And you know what happened? Why it was not mentioned? Because the sugar lobby pushed that sugar should not be mentioned. This is the status of food. This is what has happened.
Thank you.
Needless to say, the presentations were remarkable. excellent, very well structured. Thank you very much, all the
Thank
three
you.
speakers.
Thank you.
Next person, please, if you have anything. Mr. Ramesh, please.
Quite interesting subjects, particularly, though the audience level was so low now. Thank you for that. As a layman, I also could learn something out of this. Just a few questions and few opinions to share. First, to touch about the migrant workers and their problems, which was just touched upon, but likely to become a very big one, because one thing, South is moving towards a stage without migrant worker, nothing can move. You all will agree. Even the politicians who can talk anything against migrant workers for their own industries, they need migrant workers. They are going to become a very privileged people in course of time, out of need. If they are not there, our cost of living will go up. So there is a danger. So I just want to understand in course of time, or is it prevalent, or in course of time, the government senses this and comes more protection for migrant workers in terms of legislation. Like for example, in Africa, when you choose an Indian and bring them, I'm talking about few years back, minimum 100,000 local shillings, if you don't offer, you can't bring them, is a legislation. Okay, because they sensed it. They are important, they need to be given importance, and they need to survive in that particular place. Similarly, when the migrant workers are coming over here, they need to work for 14 hours, 16 hours. They all have to stay in some sort of a mansion. There is no special health protection for them and all. After all, you come and you want to feed your family, you are coming and taking a job. But slowly it will move to a situation that without you, we can't survive. When they are not thinking enough, and if they are communists, they would have really created a problem there, here. So just wanted to understand, are there new legislations, things coming? Are they there to protect the migrant workers more? That's the first question.
Yes, there is Interstate Migrant Workers Act and Migrant Workers Rules. But the Act came way back in 1977 and the rules came in 1997. But when it comes to enforcement of the interstate, fantastic regulations in fact. If you follow those interstate migrant workers regulations, you need not go to other states at all to get people, because that's going to be so expensive for the people here. They can work for only 8 hours a day or 40 hours a week. Anything more than 8 hours, they have to be compensated in double wages. They have to get 1 day weekly off, which is mandatory. And if they are working in night shift, they have to give night shift working hours. If they are put in dormitories or accommodations, organizations have to pay for their dormitory and they have to be given free food. Interstate migrant workers regulations is very, very clear. The industries which are bringing them, they have to cater for their children's education. Lots of requirements are there, but that's why I said the defaulter is a government who does not enforce the laws.
Time to educate the migrant workers themselves and then sensitize the owners. Some values also in that. Fine, thank you very much. Next is just an opinion sharing rather than questions. The presentation about the senior citizen was wonderful, both in content and also a sound, assertive voice. So we all like to join with you on this. Well, we are talking about 10.5% is the senior citizen now, and it is both in absolute number and then also in percentage is likely to come up, more so in Kerala and Tamil Nadu and all that. But what works with this politician is, what are you going to give me back when I do something for you? I mean, ground, that's what works. If we don't stand up for ourselves, nothing is going to happen. What does this government think? Either this or that. I'll give you either 40-50% in railway concession or nothing. Can't they even do about now, your railway income has come up and all that, and probably you can come out with 20-25% if you want. But people go to the parliament and talk, you revert back to 40-50%, they feel it's not just feasible, we need more time. Without no practical intelligent guy is talking about, okay, you can afford this. If you can't afford this, why can't you afford this in that language? The suggestion about senior citizen, separate the bus and all that, I think we need to stand up for all this. And one more point I talk about is, we should be possible before our culture goes out. Our culture is what? Respect elders. And we say, பெரியவாளுக்கு வயசான காலத்தில் பண்ணுறது நிறைய புண்ணியம், அதுக்கப்புறம் உன்னோட லைஃபே ரொம்ப லைவ்லி ஆகும், அந்த மாதிரிலாம் நம்ம கல்ச்சரில் இருக்குது. Out of compassion, respect for father, we used to have all this. They are getting diluted, no doubt, but still not completely out. So when you go to politicians and say 10.5%, 11%, vote bank is there. If you don't do anything for you, we will say bye-bye. Of course, that guy turns around and says, boss, you don't come for voting. Why should I worry about you? Go for voting. Assert for your rights. And then, another point I am saying, when children stand up for you, if my parents are not taken care by the government, my vote is not for you. Then the larger percentage is going to come and tell the government, bye, you can't ignore anymore. When we do this, the government cannot ignore you anymore. We need to stand up for our rights. Look at the corporate social responsibilities we're talking about. I'm saying non-affordable senior citizen, when you talked about it, is a very, very useful subject. We are affluent, we are okay. Many non-affordable senior citizens, their plight is bad. Somebody represented, I'm very happy. But some of them can work. They can't afford, but they can work. But who is there to offer a job? Nobody will come forward to easily offer the job. But then if it is become a CSR for organizations, or a legislation say, at least 10% of your organization should give job to senior citizens who are able to work and willing to work. There is another point probably we can also represent. Just to share an opinion, otherwise I don't have a question there. Last is, of course, I was just touching about the point just to understand. In 1967, the whole government was thrown out because of the food shortage. And post 1967, as you mentioned the date that green revolutions are all started, out of necessity or by design or by for some other reason. The ratio to input to output is fine. You use 8 kg of fertilizer, you need to use 40 kg of fertilizers. So that is what the output comes. But my question is, for such kind of large population without green revolution, you could have come to this 40 million tons, you said, no? Am I right?
350 million.
From 50 million to this level, we could have come to that level? I do not know. So that is one question. Without green revolution, it would have been possible. It would have been possible, probably we made a mistake. If it's not possible, then green revolution we cannot just avoid. And today, we need to think so many things. He said, you just can't go back to complete organic farming and then get back to all that is fine. There is a bit of pessimism. So small things that if you got a house, you need a small garden for you. If you are in Chennai, you have a small farm somewhere to do your own organic farming and all that. And he touched upon a point that non-vegetarian by default is also reducing the need for this farming and all that. Of course, non-vegetarians also eat a lot of vegetables side by side, at least Indian practice. So these things are happening. But then, is there a solution now without this taking forward with a new breed or new things which are coming? Can we take care of at least Indian population without this, even the green revolution becoming hybrid? Can you prevent it and get back? That's my question.
I think, as I said, it's going to be very difficult. I think answering your first question is, without the green revolution, whether we would have achieved this tonnage of output. Now, the problem is this tonnage of output measures only, it's a metric of only one type of product, or say it's wheat and rice, Rabi season and Kharif season. Okay, that is the output. Now, we were at about 50 million tons. Today, we are about 350 million tons. But you remember one thing that I said also. It is not only a product of the Green Revolution, which had high input intensity, it was also the increase in irrigated area and the land availability. That also grew. So we cannot say that, we cannot easily conclude that it was only the high yielding varieties or hybrid seeds which gave that type of output. Possibly we might not have made 350 million tons. We could have still got around 290, 300 million tons. Number one. Number two is when we are measuring this and the effect of loss in diversity, that for example people did not cultivate millets or any other type of crop because of everybody moving to wheat and rice, you lost out on that diversity. What does this 350 million tons tell you? Okay, this is the production, and how much of it, tell me today, how much of it is lying in FCI godowns? The problem is what is the basis for keeping security stocks? How secure you should be in terms of your food availability. That is the big question, whether we need that type of quantity to be produced. But now, of course, you can't go much beyond 350 million tons. Okay, there is a limitation. Automatic, the law of diminishing marginal returns, and I think we are already in this thing. Now, hopefully, we are trying to, sort of change the mix so that we are able to get better nutrition, better value for what we have in terms of ultimately, it is about population health. One thing is like you have food, but then 400 million people die. So what happened? Okay, because of ill health, I'm saying. So where is the trade-off in this? So a lot of points to consider. Getting back, what is the meaning of a revolution? A revolution brings you back to the same place. That's what the meaning of a revolution is. But unfortunately, revolution here means it takes you off course. So we need to understand that. I think it's a long haul, the way we look at food. See, the purpose of the presentation is more about the way we look at food, the way we look at nutrition, the way we need to adapt. And I think if you incentivize people to grow more traditional grains, say they give you 1,000 rupees per 50 kilos, bag produce. Supposing they say that I will give you 2,000 rupees per bag of traditional rice, okay, because your yield might be lower. Don't you think farmers would, at least over a period of time, change? And we would get better products? This is something that seriously has to be considered in the policy making level. It's not going to be easy change, but it has to come about. All this has happened in the last 50 years. I know you are a native of this region. You know what has happened, what changes have happened. Okay.
Thank you, Sampath. That is a good one. I just have one comment to supplement what you said. When Green Revolution happened in India, there are parallel agricultural revolution across Southeast Asia. Now, do you have any comparative study? Is there any comparisons? What happened there? How did they perform? Where did they go from one place to another?
I don't
In
have...
the context of, especially the context of, the same scientist you mentioned, M.S. Swaminathan, was then the director of IRRI in Manila.
Yeah.
He created Green Revolution in Philippines and Thailand. So how does these two compare? Any idea you have?
Okay, I don't have any specific idea because I've been always looking at India because I don't have any experience in the Far East in terms of looking at rice cultivation. And as I said, I have been trying to be a farmer in India. Okay, so all my experience is drawn from that. But the thing is, see, they have, we got to understand the Far East, the diversity in food is high. It's not a purely rice-based diet. Okay, they have a lot of fish, they have a lot of seafood, they have a lot of other stuff. So possibly it doesn't affect them so much. My rice might be this thing. But here we hammer rice like anything. Okay, I think that you might not have seen this type of an impact over there. Actually, personally, I'm very interested in knowing whether there are any studies to show that how modified see, every time they say when a new rice variety, almost every year there is a new rice variety that is introduced, they will tell you this is a high yielding variety which grows in 90 days, 95 days per acre, it will give you this and things to that. Of course, this is our lab conditions or the farm in Adurai. That is the statistic. But whether the composition of that rice, what is that composition of that rice, what is the type of starch content it has, nutritional value, I don't think there is any study like that. Huh?
Right. That's
Very sweets in India are very, very rich. Nowhere in the world you have sweets like gulab jamun.
No, that is only one part of it. There are not See, I will tell you the thing. What surprised me most was that people who are regular, you say that, okay, you be moderately active, you walk, you do good work and things like that, you will not have a sugar problem. Right?
good.
Right?
That's
But many of the farmers today are suffering from that, though they are very active.
Thank you, Sabha. That is good. Is there any other observation from the floor? If not, I'll probably sum up. So you want to say something? Please come.
Actually, not any questions. Because everything was very clearly explained. I would like to sum up the 2 days workshop in a simple form. Okay. It's a kind of one-liner, After having 2 days workshop, my thinking was, while I was sitting and watching all this, it's something very phenomenal. It's a kind of universal principle which arises from my mind. The output of the 2 days workshop is unimaginably fine. What I was thinking, if something arises, some idea or some program like this, without any compulsion, it flourished very well. That's my thought. Thank you.
Sir, 1 minute, one last thought which I forgot to mention during my this thing, which I thought was mind-blowing. When we talked about water consumption and pumping out by bore wells, there was a very interesting study of the data between 1993 and 2000, the results of which was published recently in Scientific American. It seems between 1993 and 2010, 2,150 gigatons of water has been pumped out of the soil. And they found that the Earth's axis has shifted by 31 inches. That's the level of mass transfer. This is data for 2010. Now we are 13 years down the line with more pumping. Okay? Now when we talk about climate change and all those type of things, what type of things are going to happen with this shift? I think this was mind-blowing findings that I found. So,
Thank you. Professor Rajan? Professor Rajan, please.
Thank you very much. And we've been telling thanks to so many times, it's worth. Okay. Now, the modus operandi of publishing so much of informations, so much of interactions, and academic debates and controversies, all put together in a black and white. I'm thinking of handing over to the Prime Minister's office when I am going to do that. It's a very major issue, but stalwarts like you definitely will do it. The two options which I would like to put before you, one is January 7th, Indian Science Monitor is going to bring out the annual issue in 7th in Chennai, mostly Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. We're inviting some top scientists. Will you be able to bring out this issue on the same day? That is one option. Other is January 7th. Okay. Second is 28th of February. It's National Science Day, where we have a 20th JC Post Memorial Award. We have been giving award for scientists for the past 19 years, including the scientists from abroad. We gave one to Dr. Shankar Chatterjee, one internationally well-known paleontologist. Okay, suppose in February 28th, if we think it is not far away, probably we can publish this book separately, along with the, separately, and we are inviting Minister of Science and Technology. That's not a big issue. We can always pull somebody from Government of India. So it is left to the Mr. All of you to decide and tell me how we can do that one. So I'm thanking everybody, especially she has done a wonderful job of, yes, definitely. It's not so easy. And Mr. Sambat, many I cannot understand because, your views are, we have been meeting scientists, but you have a encyclopedic knowledge to bring so many things together. Good. Oh my God. They're all, when I gone through your profile, both of you, when I told yesterday, Ms. Sitaraman, when I was hearing your talk, as if we were in Kentucky, in USA. The attire is so beautiful, and the way in which you talk and your attire and speak, when you see the camera, as if it happened somewhere in abroad, not definitely in Kumbakonam. Nobody is going to believe that. So anyhow, it's the most unexpected shock therapy for me. And we always love to call, or Pitamahar. You won't like when I call him Pitamahar. Viswanathan ji, because he's a stalwart in machine learning, and so we are expecting to give some, some essays, article for Indian Science Month, which he is going to deny. I'm sure when I look at the face, he's very sure about it. Okay, so I'm very happy that, yes, not forgetting Sridhar. Sridhar, I think, Shankar, if you're able to produce a wonderful video, which you have done it, but you make it a little more professional, definitely we will show it in our Indian Science Monitor, that is a 28th JC Post Award. Because you are giving a new facelift to everybody. Your video will give a lot of inspiration to others to work on the same type of things. Wonderful thing you did it. It's very done in a very easy manner. You make it a little more professional. Definitely, I will assure you, we'll put it in the same day, so a lot of people will be watching it. And we are very happy that you are part of this organization, Indian Science Monitor. So I'm going to thanks again, Sitaraman, because when I simply said think tank, and he just, I think during the time of one of the festivals there, simply entrusted the whole thing to respected. He accepted it very nicely. Again, I tell you, this is something very new for me, because we have done this kind of a think tank last year at Lyolo College when the Minister of Environment came, and then we found it very difficult to collect the professionals together and bring out something. Here it took place so nicely because all of you love that knowledge explosion. So something fantastic. We will relish it, and all our members are very happy to see your videos there. And again, one of the members said, he's a very senior man in scientists, he's now in Canada, he said, I can't believe something is happening so nicely in Kumbakonam. And all the topics are so well prepared and professionally handled. So thanks a lot. Thank you very much, everybody.
So the title is Justified. Sir, we are very happy and thankful to you for having given us this opportunity. Srivathsam Think Tankers.
I'm just triggered it. But you are actually did everything,
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the participants.
So there is one more thing, which I want a food for thought. 4 years ago, when we were doing a program in Bharath University, I met the president of the Textile Union of Coimbatore came. I asked him very leisurely, why not you just give a job to the students? He said 85,000 jobs are available in textiles, but nobody is coming from Tamil Nadu to accept it. We have to hire from the North India. He said it, open the public. Later I found this guy is very particular to invite the people from North India and Bihar because they don't ask for a bonus. They don't ask anything. So this is atrocious. And then when I interviewed the student, they said they are willing to go for a part-time job, like in America. Now they are very happy because they want to show their manliness and giving gift to the girlfriend. I already made some money part-time, so take this, whatever. So the younger generation is very keen to work for the North job, whereas the proprietor is keen to recruit people from North India, mainly because of the following reasons. It's just a food for thought. Thank you very much.
I fully agree. That's one of the challenges. No. Good. Now, just a question to all the speakers. What is the deadline we can keep for submitting your papers?
Can we defer this answer till the day? We'll come back. We'll answer your question. But we will look at your dates, Professor.
We'll have a thinking session.
Thinking session instead of. So don't get us to commit here. We'll not commit.
Tax will pay.
Okay.
As a speaker, he is answering now.
Okay. We can close. You can.
Yeah.
Find us out.
Fine. Dear all, thank you very much. It has been wonderful experience to have you all here, and your participation has been excellent and very, very active, and we never expected this much questions, and all of you are very, very proficient in most of the subjects. That is really amazing. And once again, thank you very much. Thank you, speakers. Thank you, the moderators, and Srivathsam management for providing this opportunity. Thanks, Vikram, for covering this. And thanks to the canteen people for catering excellent food. Thank you, Lalita madam. Thank you, Rama madam. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. And we can close the session. Thank you.